All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock, and I'll call to order our November 16th, 2021 City Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Ortega.
Here.
Councilmember Thompson. Here. Councilmember Estes.
Here.
Councilmember Applegate.
Here.
Councilmember Geek.
Here.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
All 6 members present.
All right, and I don't know if you can see, tonight for my last meeting, we're trying a sergeant-at-arms, and so I have Nicholas Ortega sitting here next to me, between me and Tamara, to kind of keep the crowd in order tonight. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just move right on into everything and finish up here. We have no presentations or board, commission, committee appointments tonight. I'll start with City Council agenda requests and announcements. I'll start with Ms. Duncan.
Good evening, everyone. I attended the Colorado Trust meeting last evening where they talked about getting a grocery store here in Fountain. I don't know if anybody's here that represents the Colorado Trust, but they had stated that they would be at the meeting tonight. So there was a very good meeting that we went to. So hopefully they'll be here to update us on whatever's happening with that. Also just want to say, I went to the Veterans Day, a lot of Veterans Day events that were happening on Veterans Day, and it's a time where we honor those who have served our country and and sacrificed for our country. And I just want to say, if we have any veterans in the room, that I am honored to be in your presence, and thank you for your sacrifice to our country. Just one more thing, that it's Thanksgiving time. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of crazy stuff has been going on around us, and I just want us to take that time to be grateful for our family and friends that are around us. So please take this Thanksgiving time to be grateful and to be around our family and friends and love on one another.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Geek.
Yes, I got a couple things tonight. One was after our meeting last week on Wednesday. I had there was a virtual health department meeting. It was in regards to making a resolution for get the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And it turned into a nightmare. So yeah, those people are really suffering right now. The Department of Health is really, they're taking it. I think the resolution, I think people weren't listening to what they were trying to say. They were thinking it was a mandate, had nothing to do with mandating anything. They just were going to recommend that everybody get a shot. The second thing I have is I think there's some things that maybe should go on as far as the council from now on, pushing forward, and that maybe we should have a charter change in regards to two people sitting up here with the same last name. We got a city of 30,000 people. We ought to be able to have more than two people. And I'll go along with that. 3 out of the 4 positions that were being changed this time, this election, probably could have been just sign a piece of paper and get their 25 signatures and they would have been in. So my feeling is that maybe we should have some kind of an incentive. I don't know what that would be, but there's bound to be something that would work. If we got 30,000 people in this town and we don't have that many people that apply for these positions, and it's an election, and if you're going to pay for an election, I think there should be people running against each other. And that's my thought. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Applegate.
Yeah, I attended the Veterans at the Wall down there, and it was really a nice event, well run. And then afterwards, of course, this is a great town. You can go get food for free if you're a veteran, and they look after you. So I really appreciate that. It's been good. And I just really like living here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Estes.
Just a quick, I went to my first FURA board, and it was very informative, and I'm looking forward to serving on that board for the next year to finish out Gabe's term. And I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that they have going on. So, so I'm excited to be there. So that's all I have.
All right, Ms. Thompson?
Yeah, I was like to thank everybody who participated in the Veterans Day event, and a shout out to the So Time in the Valley for the quilt they made for the Melvin Postlewaite, who is a longtime Fountain veteran, a citizen in Fountain, and is a Purple Heart recipient. In the words of Melvin, he's so humble. He says, "We just remember we didn't duck it fast enough." So he's a very humble person, and he was so appreciative of it. But I appreciate the group doing that honor for him. So thank you very much to that group. The Salvation Army had their kettle kickoff event on Friday that I attended. So remember that if there are kettles, if you give in Fountain Valley in the kettles, that money stays in Fountain Valley for services that people need here. So please, if you see one, be in Fountain. So thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the Veterans Day. We worked that day, and so the kids were in school, and we were busy teaching. And though we did talk a lot about Veterans Day and what that meant, and had a celebration at the school. So thank you to everyone for participating here, and because we didn't get to do it last year, so we had a virtual thing, I think, is what we did. And so it was nice to be able to have people back out there again. And I think also to recognize Mr. Postlewaite, because he's very proud of his service as a Marine and what he's done for the community as well. I mean, he's been here forever. I think he owned the A&W when we had A&W here. Years and years and years ago, is I think what he told me one time. So he's been here for quite some time. And so thank you to everyone for recognizing him. I know that probably touched him probably a lot. So the other thing I do want to mention, and just in case you may have not heard, but I'm sure everybody has heard now, that former Mayor Pro Tem Jim Koch did pass away last Saturday. And so I do want to have a moment of silence for him real quick, if you'd indulge me. Okay, thank you. And as many of you knew Jim, he was just he was a character and a half, and he loved the city. He pushed back where he thought he needed to push back, and put himself out there to sit on this board for 8 years. He was also on the sanitation district board, and so he did a lot of service to the community. He was always there to help in times of need as well. When for I think of things like. With utilities, what's the program we have utilities, Scott? Lighten the Load. I mean, he sponsored a few dinners there just to raise money for that, where he actually cooked the entire meal by himself. And anytime the firemen were out doing stuff, he was bringing pizzas or paying for pizzas or bringing food out and just really caring for the community and everyone there. And so he'll be greatly missed. I know Kathy is... she's got some time to rest a little bit now, and she's been watching over him for quite some time. And I was telling someone the other day, I said, even before he was sick, she was taking care of him and keeping him in line. So if you do get a chance to send her a note, just please do that, an appreciation, and we'll keep her in our thoughts and things as well. And I don't think, Chris, you mentioned it, they're not going to have a service for him anytime soon, but they do plan on maybe doing a memorial ride.
Yeah, I think the last time I talked to Kathy and the family that was there, and she's in relatively good spirits and was surrounded by her family, and so that was very positive. They had tons of good food, so you could go there and eat. Gained 20 pounds. I had some cinnamon rolls that were pretty good. They want to ride in the spring. They want to do a big Thunder in the Valley. They really want to honor Jim and send him out that way. So I just told her on behalf of the city, and I know we were all busy. They really appreciated a lot of people that stopped by this weekend. And in the springtime, when they do a Thunder in the Valley ride, we'll all be out there to support them, whatever that looks like.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for, I know both you and Chief Maxon went out and visited, and thank you for representing us and taking care of that. So yeah, again, if you get a chance to drop her a note or something, or even stop by, I'm sure she'd appreciate it in doing that. So I don't think I have anything else tonight. on this. So let's go ahead and move into public to be heard. I'm not going to read the whole spiel. If anybody from public would like to come up and speak, now would be the time. You have 3 minutes or less. Okay. We'll move on to our consent agenda, and we have no items in consent. So we'll skip on past that. Item number 8, old business. Let me put on my glasses. 8A, Resolution 21-068, a resolution authorizing execution of a performance contract with Verigy for the completion of energy improvements on city facilities. Mr. Trainer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to hopefully bring to closure a project that we've been working on a little over a year. In December of last year, the council actually approved a resolution authorizing us to move forward in a performance contract for a technical energy audit with, at the time, it was Midstate Energy. They're now Verigy. So all the documents you'll see now are Verigy-related documents. But for those who may not be aware of what a performance contract is, an energy performance contract, it's a program that's actually hosted through the Colorado Energy Office, whereby cities working with an energy service contractor will assess their facilities, determine if there are upgrades that they can make to their HVAC, lighting, water efficiency, just a number of different energy types of efficiencies that they can make in their facilities. And through the savings, through the energy savings, the water savings, whatever those savings are, use those savings to then pay for those improvements. So the idea is that you would continue to pay whatever your electric bill is, water bill, et cetera, and use the savings now afforded by the newer upgraded facilities to really make those payments. And so that was something that we entered into. We've done that in the past. Siemens did that a few years ago now, and made a number of improvements in different facilities. And so now we continued moving forward with Midstate. They conducted a technical energy audit and determined that we have a great project that we want to bring forward. I know this is a little bit of old news for the council because we recently talked about it with that DOLA solar array grant. And so that DOLA grant was a grant that for a little over $1 million, like $1.3 million, to bring in funds to help us build a solar array that would then provide energy for all of our city facilities, including our streetlights. And so that's kind of an exciting project. I know the state was very excited about that project. I think it's to date the only project that's actually been funded through that grant program. Is that still true, Oscar? Thank you. Oscar, by the way, is a representative. Some of you recognize him. He's been here before with both Siemens and Midstate, and now he's representing Verigy. So the program they have before you, by the way, these two old business items, 8A and 8B, are related. The first one is the council hopefully moving forward with an authorization to enter into a performance contract with Verigy to conduct the improvements in our various facilities. The biggest one, of course, being a solar array, but they also have LED lighting improvements. Really one of the things we were also initially what got us going on this project, it actually wasn't the solar array, we weren't even thinking about it at the time, but was to have a coordinated sort of system for all of our HVAC systems in all of our facilities, something that would help out our facility folks, because right now they don't really have a coordinated way to really manage all those facilities. Air cleaning and water efficiency upgrades, in addition to, of course, the solar array. The total project cost ends up being $4.2 million. It's actually $4,250,000. Then we had the DOLA grant of $1,350,000. So what we then need to do is finance an amount of $2,860,000. That financing is done through 100% of those payments are made through the savings that we achieve through these various improvements. And those savings annually are $183,000. So what we're proposing is a 20-year term. We're proposing to move forward with these projects, a 20-year financing term, the interest rate of 2.165%, and I think that's it. The financing is through Bank of America, if you're interested in that. And so this first action would be to move forward with an actual performance contract. And the second action is a resolution to essentially approve the financing, and then we would move forward with the financing for that. Troy's available. I think he's watching us streaming right now. He's come down. He's sick, so he's Didn't want to, of course, get anyone here sick. But he's watching this. If there's any questions that come up around the contract, I can call him and bring him in. John Lewis is also available if there's any specific financing questions. But it's the same kind of projects we've done in the past, a little bit bigger. I'm really pretty excited about this one. But any questions that you have for me for either of these two items?
Now, I know that we've been working on this for a while, and the solar arrays come up a little bit more recently, but
Right.
to be able to power all of our buildings and such just with that, I think is a pretty cool deal, so. And Oscar's been working with us for a while, so I know we're in good hands as far as that goes, so. Any questions from council or public on this item?
Gordon, Rick, where are we looking at putting the solar array at?
What's that? The solar array will be at the substation at Rustique. Thank you. Yeah, you bet. Good question. Actually, it's a good question because initially we talked about doing it up at the Utility Operations Center, but the way it's connected into the transmission system, it actually works better at Rustique at the substation there.
Oh, okay. Oscar, did you have anything, or are you just here to?
Here, thank you for the time, and council members, thank you very much. I just want to let you know that the city of Fountain will be the first city in the Front Range from Pueblo all the way to Fort Collins to be the only one that will offset all of their buildings facility, including street lights, generating their own power. So you are the pioneer of 21 municipal communities in the state of Colorado to do the same type of project and help their community and their city.
All right, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Oscar.
All right. Chief, did you have, Maxon, did you? I thought I saw you raise your hand. Okay, nope. All right, so if we have no further questions, oh, go ahead.
I don't know if, having, knock on wood, that this never happens again, but I know, twice we had those, hailstorms, and a lot of people that had those, because we were even thinking about putting those on top of our house. So if that happens again, what protection do we have, with the electricity?
Yeah, well, all the facilities will still be connected into the grid. In fact, one of the things, to give you a little bit of background without getting too much in the weeds, one of the initial things we talked about was installing solar facilities on every facility. And then we thought, well, wait a minute, why don't we just create one solar farm in one location that doesn't even have to attach to a facility if it can generate electricity, put it into our system, and offset the amount that we use in our facilities. And so we'll still be connected now. These, and I'm not the engineer, but we had the same question for the engineers who actually put together the project as far as just how tough are these solar panels, and they're rated very high, but in the kind of hailstorm that we had before, we know there's going to be damage, and so it would be an insurance kind of question that we'd have, and insurance would end up paying for that, the actual damage to those. But for a normal hailstorm, apparently these are really strong. I don't know if Oscar, you can speak to that. For something like we had, the apocalyptic kind of hailstorm, I don't think anything was going to survive something like that. But does that answer your question, Dieter?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, then if no further questions, we can take a vote on that. Ms. Estes?
I move to adopt Resolution 21-068.
Okay, Mr. Applegate?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval. Please vote.
Try again.
Oh,
6 yes, motion carried.
all righty. And we'll move right into 8B, Resolution 21-069. A resolution authorizing execution of a lease agreement with Bank of America for the purchase of energy improvements on city facilities. It says John Lewis. You're taking that again, Mr. Trainer?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just rolled the report for both of these into the
Okay,
same.
that's what I figured. Okay, so if there's no further questions, this is just the agreement with Bank of America to basically do what we just approved. Ms. Duncan?
I move to adopt Resolution 21-069, a resolution authorizing the execution of a tax-exempt lease agreement between the City of Fountain and Bank of America for the purchase of energy improvements on city facilities.
All right, and Mr. Applegate?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval. Please vote.
6 yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you, Oscar, for coming out and helping us with this. Okay, we'll move into new business, which we have no items, so we'll go directly into correspondence, comments, and ex officio reports. I'll start with City Manager Extraordinaire, Trainer.
What about that?
Though, something's wrong with your face.
I know.
See,
I mean,
he's now known as,
It's National November.
he's been working on it for 2 months.
Oh, 2 months?
he just haven't been here.
He's now known as Duck Dynasty, so it feels.
Oh, okay.
Does he need a cat?
And this is why I cry myself to sleep every night. Hey, look, I had 2 weeks stuck at home with COVID, and I thought, well, what the heck? That's 2 weeks. Some people grow this in like 2 hours. Anyway. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hey, this is obviously, I really don't have anything to share except for one thing, and that's this being the last night for the mayor and Sam and Greg, if Greg had still been here. This is just a night. I just want to just briefly say what an honor it's been to work with the mayor, Mayor Ortega, Sam, with you. I've already, of course, when Greg left, spoke with him about how I felt about working with him, but it has been an honor and a pleasure. I know this is your last night being here. I just can't say how much I appreciate having worked with a lot of mayors and council members over the years, just the dedication of public service, the true public servants that you are. I mean, something I appreciate, and this isn't just about those that are leaving, but it's also about our entire council, is we have a council that has been focused on doing what's right for the community. That there's not agendas. It's focused on what can I do for the community to better it. And sometimes the community appreciates that and acknowledges it and knows about it, and sometimes they don't. In fact, I suspect that more often than not, the work that you guys have done and continue to do really goes unnoticed by a lot of people, and it's a tough job. And I want to thank you so much. As you step off the council, we had some plaques made, and I wanted to read, if I could, this first one. And they say the same thing, but so Sam, I'll give you yours as well. Presented to Gabriel Ortega, City Council Ward 1, 2007 to 2010, Mayor Pro Tem 2010 to 2013, Mayor 2013 to 2021. And there's a quote on here that I really like that I wanted to put on here because it just reminds me, it makes me think about you all as council members and the work that you do. This is from Nelson Henderson. It says, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit." And you guys have done that. You guys have been planting trees for years, some of which you see the fruits of, and many of which you don't. And I really like that. Thank you for the trees that you've planted during your 14 years of leadership, dedication, and service to the citizens of Fountain, Colorado. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Geek, as well. Appreciate it. And so if I could, I'd like to give these to you. I've got one here for Greg as well, and I'll track him down.
All right, thank you, sir.
And I fly out of my hand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's all I had, sir.
Okay, Mr. Evans?
Okay, I'll do my thank yous before we get into something I'm going to show you, just in case I have to recover my man card. I'll try to do it after that. But to both of you, I think the best kind of example I could give you, John, Chris, and I were at a leadership summit at Fort Carson a couple of weeks ago with 60 other folks from around the region, and I can't tell you how proud I was because you know my history with the county And, I've worked a lot with Colorado Springs. God bless you, Abby. And I can't tell you how proud I was when it was our time to give a summary, that I was able to stand up and say, the political environment that we're in Fountain, not only do they allow us to go out and be transparent and to tell the truth, they ask us to go out and do that. And there's a lot of folks that work in other government entities that don't have that ability. And you have led with that, Gabe. And Sam, you have been right there for everything we've ever needed from you all. And again, from a staff perspective, just to be able to go out and constantly tell the truth and what's going on and be transparent, I can't tell you what that means. I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the culture that you've set. I can tell you that 100%, I would not be here. And that's just huge accolades to both of you and your leadership, Gabe, and what you've done. And for me, the biggest sign of respect I can give is in the future, you're not going to be Gabe to me, you're going to be mayor. And Sam, you're not going to be councilman. You might be fireman, but you're not going to be Sam. And to me, the leaders that I've worked with, they always keep their title, and that's to the forefront to me. So you'll always be mayor to me, and you'll always be councilman, maybe fireman, depending on the day. But I hope you both understand how much that means to me. And I would go through a door with either of you guys anytime. And we just appreciate you. We truly do. So from my heart, thank you both.
Thank you.
And I've kept my card, I think. So before I pass it along to Chris, something we want to show you guys, and this goes back to business, but we want to make sure that we update you what's going on our eastern borders as soon as we hear about that information. So as you can see here, if you're able to read that, I'll summarize it for you. This is La Plata's request to Colorado Springs to annex basically around our eastern border and then all the way down to Link Road. So what we were calling the La Plata development, that's now being called Amara. So this shows that they're going to do 11 separate annexations to work their way all the way from Bradley Road down to Squirrel Creek to the south and then all the way down to Link to the west. So Paul, if you'll go to that second map. This one's going to be tough for you to kind of orient yourself, but if you see up above where the line is, Paul, go right up to the top line, where right below Amara Additions, that's Bradley Road. So that shows up off of Bradley where the annexations will start, and as you can see the annexation plat numbers, it comes all the way down to the east and then go down, Paul. And you can see that's somewhere right around Lorson Ranch, that area that you can kind of see the smaller lots. And then as it swings down and around, we've got a different map for you. I'll show you a concept map here in a second. And then as it continues to come down, the furthest line at the bottom, that's Squirrel Creek Road. And then that's Link Road and Mark Shuffle to the left. So that basically, the 11 annexation starts up by Bradley and then comes down and around. And I give Christy Martinez a lot of credit. When this first came up, she said this is exactly legally how they would be able to do it, and it is. She was right on the money with that. So go to the. They will be, yes, ma'am. That will have Colorado Springs densities on there. Yeah, and then go down to the next map, Paul. So that's the concept map there. You can see the piece farthest up at the top of the map. That's Bradley. And then as it comes down, that gap area right there, that's state land, but they can keep the contiguity even on that state land. Then it picks up there again, and where it picks up, that is right behind kind of right about the Fontaine area, right around behind Sam's area and Lorson Ranch. And then it wraps around Almagre, comes down. You can see where the Powers extension is planned to go, where it comes up and connects at Powers, and then down to the south where it would connect with Squirrel Creek. And then to the left of the map where the concept map ends, that's Link Road. So basically on their request, they have requested this to go on the next Colorado Springs agenda that they can, City Council. So we're expecting either at the end of this month or the first part of December that will be in front of Colorado Springs City Council. So that's kind of the latest and greatest. We've had folks out in the community ask, well, how can we allow that to happen? And legally, there's nothing we can do. That's private property that's unannexed right now. So there's nothing that we could do legally or anything else to stop that process. And I just wanted to make sure, as we get this information, we will keep you updated as well. But is there any questions or anything that I can answer right now? Go ahead, Sharon.
Too many buttons. I know we can't do anything about it. Totally get it. Totally understand what they want to do. My concern, as always, is public safety. I think we know our neighbors, the north, like many departments, are short on public safety officers.
They are.
And growing rapidly. And the stress this is going to put on our public safety responders, we are not going to sit on the other side of the road and let someone die of a heart attack or their house burn down. Any kind of thoughts or creative things we can do in that area, I think we need to really be at the table with those ideas, because our officers will be responding, but there's going to be times we can't. If there's a major incident on the west side of town or on the freeway, they can't depend on us for their public safety needs. So that is a large concern to me. And like you said, I know it's not ours, but I think it needs to be out there that it is going to affect and impact our community with the needs of the people right there. And I hope they're putting a grocery store out there.
Well, and Chris and I have already started that conversation. We plan on, with the CSPD side of things. And again, in all full transparency, there wasn't a whole lot of concern, was there, Chris? And they are aware how long it's going to take, how few cops they're going to have down in this area. So we will continue to be that vocal advocate for coming up with solutions with that, because you're right, it's going to impact us. We're going to have impacts with public safety. We're going to have major impacts with traffic and transportation. We are going to have major impacts with stormwater and drainage coming off of there, because all of that will basically drain down into Jimmy Camp, then come roaring down through Cumberland Green, Metcalf, Adams Open Space, and then continue down. So we're going to have major impacts with that. So what this is going to do is this is going to initiate a lot of those discussions that are going to be had. And rest assured, we're not, and I know I speak for Scott as well, because we've had these discussions, we're not going to be bashful at all about going up to those Colorado Springs City Council meetings and having those discussions, not only at the department head level, but at the city council level. But Colorado Springs is annexing a ton of property around them. And do they have the resources, public safety-wise, to take care of it? Absolutely not. With our experience, we can tell you that. And so will their folks up there. So we're going to do everything we can to be advocates for that, but it's going to be up to them to care and for them to work with us to try to do something about it.
Thanks for ruining our party.
Hey, well, I'm still waiting to hear from the Sergeant of Arms, Mayor. I mean, we're honoring you, but I really want to hear from him.
Give him the gavel.
Yeah,
Getting there. Getting there.
Close the meeting now.
But again, if you ever have any questions about this, or any folks that live in the city that have questions, send them my way. Happy to share these with them and sit down with one or a group and kind of run them through all the facts. Yeah. So that's all I've got, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Chief?
Well, only bad news. I'll get out of the way on that note. We've been sitting in a couple of planning meetings, and Chief Maxim went today for the I-25 South Mini Gap project. It's going to come in within the next year. They're going to begin construction out there. It's going to look very similar to what has been transpiring up north, and it's going to have some significant impacts to I-25 throughout our jurisdiction, and it's going to impact our traffic, specifically 85, 87, which already gets taxed. So more to follow on that. We're going to planning on it. They're going to do it. They're going to replace 2 bridges. Chief was at the meeting today. Both the bridges going across Academy in our jurisdiction. They're going to be replacing and fixing those. So we're just going to have to encourage people to slow down and be patient and work that problem, because it's going to be here for a little bit. There was a shooting yesterday. We talked about it today down in Pueblo, where the Pueblo Police Department were responding to citizens pulling guns, firearms on code enforcement. So, it's something we've been talking about for the last couple of years. Last year, through your support, we moved very quickly to get our code enforcement body cameras and bulletproof vests. That's now part of their uniform. So I think we did all we could, and we continue to really work together and make sure our code enforcement and our employees are safe. Sam, to your point, Public Health South can be under siege for some of the meetings you go to. We I just want the council to know that between Todd and myself, we're in close, constant communication when they're fearful that they will have demonstrations or agitators because of the problem set around COVID. Friday, we encountered one of those when they were going to give some vaccination to some juveniles. They were fearful, so we had plenty of police officer support down there just to make sure that they know they're safe, we're available, and we're coordinating very closely with our partners there. Dieter, I know you're very passionate. We all are on domestic violence. We had a very, very hot domestic violence call this afternoon that transpired right across from the PD. It shut down 3 schools, put them on a lockout mode. The suspect, we believe, ran out the back door and possibly was armed. But I was exceptionally proud of the Public Safety Department today. The police officers responded. We had detectives. We used Hulk. We ended up taking some kids out of the house. And Hulk, our therapy dog, was running point on that. And we were able to transition those kids without an issue, and Hulk was really vital for that. Our Beacon team was on today, our detectives were on, fire department responded and treated the victim, so just a great job today by the Public Safety Department in dealing with that case that had very much potential to be very tense and maybe dynamic, and everything, we arrested him without incident. We were able to encourage his mom to turn himself in without incident, and he's in jail tonight, so that's good. When I look back, Sam and Gabe, I'll just tell you a couple of things. It's very lonely at the top. I don't know who said that, but I think every leader at any level throughout history has felt that at times. I know certainly, Gabe, you felt it. Sam has felt it. And, Sam and I were talking the other day, and sometimes you wonder, you look back and say, did what I do mattered? And, from working here 7 years and living in our community for 7 years, I know it's better today, 7 years ago, than when I got here. When I got to join this council, I think at a great time through 3 different councils now. But I echo everything Scott said and Todd said. I'll just highlight a couple of things that are important to me. We can be measured as a city by how we went through 2020. COVID, when COVID hit and changed our world and it impacted our citizens and employees. One thing I am exceedingly proud of is the way our city council has always allowed us to take care of our people, both our citizens and most importantly our employees that actually touch the citizens and help improve their quality of life. And you gave us great support and great latitude to do that through some very, very hard times. And Scott led that charge, and the staff executive team did a great job. Without your leadership, that would not have happened. Through all the police reform and George Floyd and everything we went through in the police, we went through some hard times, but the city of Fountain kept doing what it's doing. And it's not to say it wasn't sensitive for all of us that went through that. But our citizens understood we have a good city, we have good city leadership, we have a good public safety department, and we continue to protect and serve them the best way we could. I really, Sam in particular, I want to echo your support to the fire department. In the last couple of years, we've been very blessed that we've had a great fire chief, and I know, Sam, you prayed about this and used to call me on the daily, and we used to have deep, loving, supportive conversation, Sam, you and I, and everybody knows if Sam calls you, I'll make it a little bit of a stretch on that. But I always knew how important the fire department was to you, Sam, and the fire department has come a long way today, and we wouldn't be here without both of your support. So I'm exceedingly proud, and our citizens are safer today based on your leadership and everything that we've all done together. And as leaders, I think that's one of the greatest things we can do for that, and I want to appreciate that. Sam, you came and talked, you and Phil in the day talked to the fire department and police officers during some hard times. And I appreciate that support. And that was palpable and that was felt. And I just want you to know, sir, I've never forgotten that. And Gabe, you came down at the night we were going to Colorado Springs with one of the big riots with the SWAT team. And we were going down there and we didn't know what that night was going to be for our city. It was the first time the riots were planned. And you and Carl and you guys came down and you spent some time with those police officers that were going in potentially in harm's way that night, and your leadership was very palpable and very present, and I really appreciated that. And so do those cops and so do those firefighters. And firefighters and cops will never tell you thank you at the point of impact. Trust me, Todd knows and I know, but I know, and I just want both of you to know that the support you gave those young men and women at those tipping points went a long way for them. So thank you very much, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Maxon?
Just echoing what Chief Heber said, the I-25 project's going to be pretty significant for our community. and taking those bridges out and whatnot. It'll be good, but they expect to finish it by the end of 2024. So it's going to be a very long project, and we expect that a lot of that traffic to funnel right down Highway 85 through the heart of our city. So we'll be ready for that, but there's light at the end of the tunnel that the road will be better eventually. And I want to say, Mr. Mayor and Councilman Geek, thank you so much for everything that you've done for the fire department. And you all are fantastic, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you around. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. Mr. Trilch.
Yes, good evening. I don't have a report for this evening, but just certainly wanted to convey my thanks to Mayor Ortega and Councilmember Geek to address you for the last time there from where you're sitting. And it's been a real honor to work and serve with you and for you, and to convey my thanks, I think, on behalf of a community that you've done so much to and contributed so much. And to see your son sitting there next to you, you know, what a visual symbol of what you've offered to everyone here. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Paul, anything from IT?
I have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you. I want to take a moment to thank you and Councilman Keith for your support over the years. I know the folks in my department greatly appreciated everything that's happened in these past few years, and we appreciate your support. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Ms. Rosa.
I just want to say you guys will be missed, and don't be strangers.
Okay.
All right, my 2 cents, being the longest tenure employee here in this room, I've seen a lot of city councils, been through a lot of different times, and I can truly say, and I'm not going to cry, but it's not very often that council members leave and I can call them my friends. It's normally their duty, they do their job, we form a great relationship, but friendship is something totally different, and you guys will definitely be leaving as my friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Duncan.
I don't know how to sing, so I don't know how to sing that song that it's so hard to say goodbye. I mess it up really bad. So I just want to say, you know, Mayor Ortega, you have a great reputation out in this city. I have been around, you know, you go and you sit down and you have coffee or dinner with somebody and you go, so about Mayor Ortega, and you kind of just go and they don't know what they're going to say, and they always say something good.
Well, that's good.
So I'm just going to tell you, my company, I can tell you that, you know, your leadership is abroad more than just here in Fountain. And I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate your guidance. I appreciate you know, you taking my calls. And Councilmember Geek, when I got elected to this position, you were one of the first people that I was told that if I had any questions or, you know, that I could depend on you and count on you and your guidance, and you have been everything that person told me you were. And I appreciate that. And I'd like to say, you know, behind every great man is a greater woman. So appreciate your wives, you know, because, you know, it's a lot to deal with when you have to be that support system to your husband. So, you know, I just want to say that you are very supported by your wives, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to skip you for now.
I'm going to skip me.
Okay. Mr. Geek, or Applegate, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Gabe, I think you've been a great mayor. I think you've controlled things, run things. I think every meeting has just been under control and been nice. And I really appreciate what you've done. Sam, I'm glad we could work together. I'm sorry you're a little bitter, but we'll miss you. sure is what you said.
Okay. Ms. Estes.
I just want to say thank you to Sam and to Gabe. I feel blessed that I came on to council when I did to learn from them because they were great leaders and they taught me a lot in the last 2 years. And I feel blessed to have been able to learn from you because your guidance, your steady hand has been just invaluable. Sam, your input on everything with our first responders has been excellent, and I cherish that knowledge that you have that you've shared with us. And Gabe, just what can I say? I just think you've been just, somebody that I really have grown to respect, and I'm really going to miss sitting here next to you, giving you a hard time, and just wish you well in whatever you do. Sam, get out there, enjoy life. Yeah, enjoy Marcia, So, and don't be a stranger.
All right, Ms. Thompson.
Really hard to believe it's been 8 years. I just remember sitting at our first meeting 8 years ago and some of the things we discussed, and one of the things was keeping the focus on moving forward. And not, we had some big things come up that could have really derailed us, PFAS, COVID, but through it all, your leadership trickled down to the staff to say we're just going to keep moving forward no matter what happens, and putting up a good presence here in the front. And we can all disagree behind the scenes, and I think that's okay because we're all individuals and we're elected to represent for different reasons. But up front, when the decision's made and everything, I think it's been really good, and we've put together a good front, even though not perfect because we're human, right?
Right.
But I really have enjoyed the time, and thank you so much for that. And Sam, I just have learned to really treasure you and everything you've brought to this board. And I know a lot of people go talk about your public safety, but I think you're just really passionate about a lot of things about this city that you see want to move forward. So I hope you guys keep my phone number in your cell phones and keep in contact because we have a great city here, and I think everybody is committed to just keeping it moving forward and what needs to be done. Obviously, tonight we saw there's some hard decisions coming down the road, and y'all got wisdom in those areas. So like I think somebody else said, don't be strangers. So thank you very much. And Abby, thank you very much for everything that you've brought to. And Marcia is not here, so thank you to her also. Because I really appreciate the fact, Sam, one thing is you always kept family first, and that's really, really important, and I think it shows.
All right, thank you. Sergeant at Arms, did you have anything tonight? No? Okay. Sam, go ahead.
I just want to tell everybody, I thought I did this last meeting, so I wasn't planning on all this tonight. So I want to thank you particularly for the way you've kept things at an even pace. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. And everybody that's on council, I appreciate all you guys. Staff, unbelievable. The citizens of Fountain don't really realize how lucky they really are. I want to thank the people that live in Ward 3 for voting for me and for being their representative. And I just appreciate living here in Fountain and doing the things that we got to do the last 8 years. Thank you.
Okay. I guess it's my turn. So we're done. We're adjourned. No, wanted to keep it short and sweet. No, very appreciative of everybody. To the staff, you guys, Sharon, you and I, we came in on very opposite ends and totally against each other, and we were thought to be in different factions and tickets. I remember that was the big thing, the tickets we were running on. I'm like, I'm just running to run. But I think we showed a lot of people how to move past that and really just focus on what we need to be focusing on. So I appreciate you taking that step with me. And I think that really, set the tone for where we are today. So I do appreciate that very much from the bottom of my heart. and Sam, I think you were kind of in that mix too. And but no, I've gotten so happy to be able to get to know you and Marcia, and just be able to go through this with you, and Phil and Jim and Patty that were here with us together. And but it was just and the current council that we have today, and bringing in newer folks, and you jumped right in and took your interest in and made it fit with what we were doing, and were able to keep pushing forward. And so all of you as well, and I've just gotten really lucky to be able to meet and be with you all, and make these hard decisions that people don't really know what goes into making these decisions, and why we do what we do, and what we do up here, and all out of the kindness of our heart. And I appreciate you guys making that sacrifice, putting yourself out there, because at the end of the day, it's either put up or shut up, and you all put up. And whether it was the right decision or not, we did it knowing that we're going to stand with what we decided to do, and mistakes were going to be made, and whether we made them or not, we stuck together, and we supported each other. And I appreciate you all in just moving that forward as a team up here. And Todd keeps telling us, we're not career politicians up here, because we really are here for the community and not ourselves, and our future aspirations. So again, I do appreciate everything from the people who put themselves out there, and knowing that you're not the expert, knowing that this is something we're only going to do for a little bit, and we got to do the best we can. I want to go quickly through staff, but John, just your help and leadership and moving us forward, and especially PFAS, that trip to the Pentagon, and just the expertise you brought, and helping us move there, and just being able to bounce ideas off with you, and just have those conversations about things. And even though you're a Raiders fan, we still made it work. But I do appreciate you coming on to the city, and just everything that you've been able to do for us. And I think the biggest thing, and I think what's going to really set up the next council for success, is that strategic plan, and really pushing us forward, and keeping our focus on what it's really about. And so thank you, and thank you for your service to our nation as well. I take great pride in knowing people like you, because of the sacrifice my father and my uncles and all those people made. And I know it's not easy, and for families and everything, so I do appreciate that. Chief Maxon, I don't know, I keep telling you this all the time. You couldn't have come at the most right time. And I am thankful every single day I hear sirens, because I know you're behind the expertise that's going into those people that are moving. Because now we have 4 fire officers. Is it 4? Fire officers now is something that would have never been thought of before. And the drive that you see in those firemen and firewomen, and they're bettering themselves for their careers and for the community. I appreciate you for choosing Fountain, and wanting to be here with us, and doing everything that you do. We're such a high-class fire department now that I think we can rival any fire department in the nation. So I thank you for all that you've done for us, and especially me personally, and just being there, and I know that I don't have to deal with drama, because you're there taking care of it, and it's about business and taking care of people. So thank you. Chris, I don't know. When you came on, I was a little worried. Yeah, I was like, The whole love bank thing just really kind of, and you and I've talked about it. I'm like, that's hokey, but it has worked 100%. And the department that you have grown since you've gotten here is, those people are top notch, and I don't want anybody else taking care of us. And again, as evidenced by last week with our kids that are coming up and wanting to be a part of that Explorers program, and walking into that building and know that it doesn't matter who it is, they're going to give me a big old hug. And that's how you treat everybody. It's not just your friends. And so I appreciate your friendship on top of everything else, being able just to BS with you and just hang out and camping and everything else that we do. I appreciate everything that you do for me and my family. the city, of course, and again, just as a friend, I thank you, and a brother, so thank you. Todd? Yeah, another one came in, and you know, we'd gone through how many police chiefs, and it just was never the right fit, and you came in and said, I'm the right fit, and you made it work, and turned that police department around to the point where, you know, we were top notch. And then you left us, which was really heartbreaking. But then Scott says, hey, I got a really weird idea for you. And I'm like, are you sure? And we went and had lunch and talked about it, and you convinced me. And I think you've surpassed every imaginable outcome that could have occurred with a city planner and what you do for our community, and in dealing with the people that you deal with, both on the real estate, or not the real, but any side it is, just the way you handle people, and it's no BS, but you also, you're personable, and you make it work. And so, you know, again, our friendship and the things that we've gotten to know each other about, and I you know, I appreciate everything you've done for me, sitting up here and hey, I've got problems. What do you think about this? Being able to shoot ideas across your desk, and we were able to have really good conversations about those, and you know, everything else, and watching your family grow, and cheering on your boy, and you know, having teams that I never thought I'd ever cheer for. But again, I appreciate you and everything you've done for me and my family, and my time up here. So I do appreciate that, and I thank you. Sylvia, Rosa, let me start with Rosa. I don't know, you've always been there, and you've always been in the middle of things, but it's always been a great middle of things because you help push things further. And I think your new role that you've taken on with gusto, and you really moving this place with the ADA stuff, and just being there. You know, every time I go in, you and Joni are fighting with each other about something, but you know, it's fun, and I've appreciated just getting to know you too, and you know, the like Romeo and Michelle, if you guys remember that movie from a long time ago. But you know, I appreciate you and your husband for all the work he's been doing with our rec program that we didn't have 8 years ago, and he came in and really helped to push it where we are now. So I appreciate everything you've done. Sylvia, between you and Scott, I don't know who is more invaluable to me, and I tell this to Scott all the time, and but I think you are also, if you weren't here, I don't know that I would have done this, and just being able to just to be able to do what we do here, and make sure we move forward. You're awesome. Thank you. Scott, same thing. Again, I know I would not have done this. I don't know, I would have put myself out there without you. There's only one other person in the world that I think is as smart as you. Well, she's probably smarter than you, but that's because I'm married to her.
Good recovery.
But truly, you're one of the two smartest people in the world that I've known, and without being able to have you by my side, this wasn't all about me. You were a big part of that, and moving us forward, and taking care of the city the way you have is immeasurable, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. Again, I don't know what else to say about that. The only other person I wish was here and isn't is Carl. He and I growing up here and knowing each other since we were little kids causing problems, you know, and watching his mom go through it, and he knows what it's like. And so being able to talk to someone who's been through that side of things and just know what that's like. And again, we've grown up here, and you know, I don't know that you could think of two other people that would get into the positions we've gotten to. I'm like, really? Carl? But you know, I wish he could have been here, and I know he's fighting sickness and things, but and the rest of the staff, whether you're a department head, fireman, policewoman, utilities, it doesn't matter. I appreciate everything that everyone's done for this community, and that you've chosen to work here and live here and breathe here and do everything that you do to take care of the city of Fountain. I am so proud and honored to work alongside you, because I wouldn't have been able to do this job again if we were all fighting with each other. But being able to take care of what we've got going on here has been great, and the people that work here and call this place home has just been great. So please pass that along to the staff as well, and my appreciation. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my family, Sergeant at Arms, and my two beautiful daughters. One's up at school, and then the other one's here. Oh, hi. Oh, she's paying attention, I guess, on the phone. So those two girls have been through it all with me. They were just born when I started to do this, and have been a part of this. And with me, we got to meet Kevin Bacon, because of things like that, and just being able, they've been a representative with me as well, and have been to events and have lived the life moving forward. And so thank you for your guys' sacrifice in letting Dad do something that, is kind of weird, but you guys were there for me, and you took care of me, and especially in those times when it was just very stressful. You guys were the ones that helped bring it back and made things easier for me. And to Abby, of course, I asked her, I said, "Do you think this is a good idea?" She goes, "Sure." Probably was really hoping I didn't, but as Miss Dietrich said earlier, without her, none of this would have been a possible. She got to hear the result of all of our council meetings, the unedited version. So I think it's going to be nice for her not to have to hear all the extra words that came home. But I appreciate everything you've done for me and in doing this job and standing by me and telling me when I needed to settle down, or gave me the wherewithal and anything. So without my family, this definitely wouldn't have happened. And honestly, my parents, because they pushed me to be a better person. They pushed me to always strive to do other things, and they were just as surprised that I did this as I am. And we're not the type of people that put ourselves out there, and this is a kind of a new experience for our family. And so without any of them, this would not have happened. So I do appreciate them. Hi, Belle. I'm glad you got to be here and see this. So you need to get back to work at school. But other than that, I think that's it. Are we done? All right. So with that, our next, we don't have executive session? Okay. Next week at 6. At 6 o'clock, same Tuesday, will be the swearing in of new council members, other than Mr. Rick. Is that still true? Okay, to the new council, new mayor, best of luck with everything. I'm here if you ever have questions or advice you'd like from me. I'll do the best I can. That doesn't mean it's going to be great, but I'll do the best I can. And I wish you all but the best of success in moving forward and continuing to push. And with that, your next regular council meeting is December 14th. We are adjourned.